I do want to clarify something about the media. The reason why we are asking media not to take pictures within the camp is because it could endanger certain members of the community. And I'd like to say thank you to the media. They have been very respectful of that, and I really appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. And so from here on out, there are organizations like Pedro's who are going to be working to make sure that Morrison is held accountable. The city of Portland is working to make sure that ICE is held accountable. And we are calling on our politicians to do more than show up for photo ops, to do more than come out and speak. We are asking them to show up on the front line. When those federal agents come down here, if they do, to try to arrest people, we want to see the people who we support down here supporting us. Thank you everyone for being out here. The only reason that this is possible, that this place was shut down, it isn't because of any one person, organization, coalition. It's because of each and every one of you who saw something wrong and stood up to fight back and to say, not in our time, not in our name, not in our country. Thank you.
Let's hear it for Jacob. Let's hear it for Jacob. We are doing it for the children. We are doing it for the people, for the families, for the children, 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 for the families. I have the privilege of being a father, and I have the privilege to be here today with my family and my daughter. And like myself, there are others here today and who have been here for the full week who have the privilege to be parents and who actually are so committed, who have brought their children to this camp to show their solidarity with what is going on in this country. So as we are doing it for the children, and as we ask elected officials to do something more than just showing up, that they must take action and demand access and have some realistic answers and actions for unification. As we are doing it for the children, hey, I just want to tell politicians, if you're doing it for your agenda, go ahead. Do it for your agenda. We're doing it for the children, but do it. Even if it's for your agenda, go ahead and do it. We're doing it for the children. We're still here on the right side of history, and we are on the side of the children. On the side of the children. On the side of the children, the side of the families. The side of the children, the side of the families. So I want to introduce someone who, like me, myself, is also a father, is a parent, and who is also here in solidarity, someone who has been an activist for a long time, is deeply committed with the cause, and has been outspoken about mass incarceration and police brutality in this city. I want you to welcome Gregory McKelvey.
You're talking about me. Thank you. My name is Greg McKelvey. I'm also a social worker of sorts. I'm also a teacher, and I'm an organizer with an organization called Portland's Resistance. But more importantly than that, I'm just one of many occupiers. Right? I want to talk a little bit about Sanctuary. I also want to talk a little bit about Progressive Portland. We're supposed to be a sanctuary city. We're supposed to be a sanctuary state. If those things are true, how much sense does it make that people are being deported out of this building, people are being deported on our roads that are taxpayer funded, people are being deported out of the city of Portland and out of the state of Oregon? As long as we claim to be a sanctuary city and a sanctuary state, not one person should be deported on our roads. And I say that not as as just rhetoric, but like by any means necessary. So they need to shut down these roads if it means that nobody is going to be deported on them. We shouldn't even have to be here. As soon as they knew what was happening at this facility, Ted Wheeler and his rhetoric opposing the federal administration, Kate Brown being a sanctuary city, they should have shut down Oregon 43, shut down this road so that nobody can be deported out of here. That's what sanctuary would look like. Sanctuary in name only does nothing good for the families that have to still come here to get all their checks crossed and dot their I's and cross their T's to make sure that they're not going to be deported, while they're seeing tweets from Ted Wheeler and videos and speeches from Ted Wheeler and Kate Brown saying how great we are at resisting the federal administration. No, this is what resistance looks like. And this is what community looks like. And as long as we have a police force that is disproportionately locking up and jailing minorities and is locking up people for minor offenses and continuing the drug war, we will never be a sanctuary city. You can claim to be a sanctuary city if you are arresting someone for not paying their max fare, for having a low amount of drugs on the streets and throwing them into the criminal justice system, then you are throwing them into the deportation machine. I don't care how it gets done. We are not a sanctuary city currently, and it's going to take this all over the city, all over the state to become true sanctuary. And what we have going on here today is beautiful, and what's gone on for the last week. And many of us have the privilege to be out here. I want to make sure that everybody understands that being out here is a privilege, right? There are communities that it is far too dangerous for them to be here. There are communities that they can't risk arrest because that equals deportation even in a sanctuary city, right? There are communities that are afraid that if they're arrested, they will be disproportionately prosecuted. So please know that we need you here, and we need you to put your privilege on the front line to protect marginalized communities from the government. And with that said, it takes more than just being here, right? It takes more than coming here and taking a picture and look how fun this was, right? It takes doing everything you can, because if it was your family that was being deported, I guarantee that you would be able to do more. So act as if it's your family, because it is your community. And Ted Wheeler's not going to have your back, but those community members will have your back. So that means to join in the demand to make sure that Morrison opens up their doors so people can go inside and see what's happening. It means that not one company in this city should ever make $1. I don't care if it's a nonprofit or not. There should be no money changing hands to detain immigrant children ever. So you can claim to be a great place, a shelter. If there's money being exchanged to keep your operation going, and it happens only because we're able to detain children, then that's not shelter, that's detention. And so lastly, I want to say to make sure to keep the pressure up on Morrison, make sure to keep the pressure up. I was at was anybody at City Hall earlier today? Cool, you guys saw the corporate Democrats give speeches? Right? Those are the people who have had the power the entire time. They've known that money was changing hands, right? They've known that people were being deported on the roads that they oversee. They've known that people on the same roads that they drive down to Salem to make decisions, there could be a van on that same exact road that is deporting people out of our community. And now, when it's popular, right? When it's popular, they want to come out here and be part of the resistance. No, we see through it. We see through it. This is resistance. They are not resistance. They need us. We do not need them. Thank you all.
That's right. That's right.
Let's hear it for Greg. Let's hear it for Greg. I think Greg just said it. It cannot be said better. So basically stay engaged. Stay engaged. Only pressure, only this kind of resistance is going to make a difference. And like Greg said, let's follow the money. Let's follow the money. We know that most of these politicians are taking campaign contributions or otherwise some kind of funneling money from the board of directors from Morrison. We know that. We know that they benefit, and we know that their silence is complicit because they are putting money in their pockets. So my only message for Morrison is that this is your opportunity. That if you want to remain as a human service organization, this is your time to be humane. This is your time to be humane. This is the time for you to open up those gates. Open up those gates, because we're doing it for the children and the families, 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 the children and the families. I could just stay all evening long, the children and the families. So thank you for coming here. The main reason of this press conference is the beginning of this next stage in our resistance to call on Morrison to open up those gates. I am inviting all those human rights organizations to reach out to Morrison and demand that those gates are open. And for politicians to actually demand that there are steps taken to achieve reunification with between those children and their families. Less than that is not acceptable. Reunification now. Reunification now. Reunification now. Reunification now. Audit now. Audit now. Audit now. Open those gates now. Open those gates now. Open those gates now. Open those gates now. Thank you so much.